So Katie, one of the reasons I'm really excited to talk to you, and thank you so much for being part of our community and shining your light in the wonderful ways you do all the way over in South Africa, right?
Yeah, I'm currently in South Africa.
Yeah, I love how you say currently. Yeah. And why that's so exciting to me is I really identify with the kind of people you help, those that are really multi-passionate, and in some ways, I was thinking about, years ago when I started creating whole person coaching. I don't think I realized it till I met you, that this is really about, we are these multiple versions of ourselves. We have multiple passions. We have multiple things that we love to do, and sometimes we just can't shine our light.
Yeah.
I would love for you to kick off our conversation to talk a little bit about maybe someone you've worked with, and how would they know that maybe they are multi-passionate, and what does that look like when they come around the other side, after being touched by your amazingness?
So thank you first for having me on. I'm so excited. I can barely contain myself. But yeah, I'm currently working with a young lady. And it's funny, I don't think people really go around labeling themselves. So multi-passionate isn't something that she had heard prior to having a conversation with me. What she was in a position where she thought her life would go in one direction. And then obviously the pandemic hit and things changed, and it wasn't panning out the way she thought it would. And it wasn't like she was out of options. Her problem, if you will, was that she had so many, and she was struggling to figure out how to put it all together to live the life that she wanted to live, where she had flexibility, she had freedom, but she also had financial security. And I think that's very typical of the people that I work with. They tend to have, like you said, multiple passions. And sometimes it's about reining it in and focusing at times. And sometimes it's about letting it out and just exploring it all. It's unique for each individual, but definitely they will have that common theme running through.
Yeah, I can so relate.
Me too.
It's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like the puppy dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
The nose is
Exactly.
always open for that next thing or that next opportunity, and everything brings joy.
Yes.
And something that, I would love to hear more from you about is, like, I think that comes with a cost, you know, like people look at us a little differently.
Yeah, that's true. People look at us differently, and we look at ourselves differently. If I use myself as an example, I went through life for the longest time feeling like I was failing, like I wasn't adulting quite right, because the world was giving me this message that I should have this one true calling and I should be excited about it and pursue it with everything in me. And I pursued things with everything in me, but then I see something else that looked like it was worth pursuing that I could be good at. And to be fair, I was pretty good at all the things that I pursued, and I enjoyed them. And there's this niggling sensation, and I'm lucky because I was surrounded by people who basically let me be.
Yeah.
But a lot of my clients aren't. And there's, oh my gosh, you're spending money on this new course. Why can't you just settle down and do the one job? When are you going to make up your mind? When are you going to grow up? It's that perception that we are non-committal or fickle or immature. And in reality, we're none of those things. What we are is passionate about many things and capable of doing many things if we're led to. And for me, that's a really big one. It's just creating the space for my clients to be able to see that in themselves as a gift and a superpower, and not as a negative.
I just have to underline what you said because it resonates so deeply. Capable of doing a lot of things. Oh, and that is so amazing that someone can pivot and put their attention into different places and become skillful. And, I wonder almost speaking from my experience, it's like that what next is almost like a what's my next challenge?
Yes. There's always another mountain to climb. There's always another little territory to conquer, and it's exciting. And I think there's a fear from the observer that how do you start all over again? How is it you're constantly a newbie and it doesn't get you down? And a lot of people who are multi-passionate actually thrive on that learning. It's the learning curve that lights us up, It's, ooh, I get to do this rather than I have to do this,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I stopped putting how many certificates I have down because I was afraid, like
you
people
kind
would
of
go like, really? You've done that and that and that. And it's like project magic next to hypnotherapy. What?
Exactly. But you're like, but I just want to do all the things.
Yeah. I'm not divided. I'm just here, and I love that you said, yeah, I love what you said about you were in a position where people will let you be, where so many people that would identify in their own way as being multi-interested, multi-passionate, multi-potential, whatever the word we want to use, they might not even be met in that way. And gosh, from a whole person perspective, and being able to meet the whole person and welcome the whole person. What a gift to have you, someone that gets that down at the core.
Yeah, thank you. I think I discovered it for myself, but even in that instance, I felt so seen. And for my clients, I think their biggest takeaway is feeling truly seen and understood. And once even one person sees you as who you truly are, then all of a sudden anything is possible. And I live for that possibility. It's just beautiful to witness.
It is. It is. And one of the things that I love from a holistic coaching approach, is that we're really able to connect people to themselves. I would love to know, because in our world here, it's all about you infusing you into coaching. What is
Mhm.
it that you offer in your secret sauce? I'm already hearing that, you create that beautiful container, and I know there's more.
I think my secret sauce, I think it's my lived experience. I think that in itself creates a sense that this is somebody that I can be myself with. And I don't have to parse what I'm thinking or what I want to do through, let's call it the conventional route. And also, I kind of like to look at how being multi-passionate shows up in different areas of your life. And that's where holistic coaching really excites me, because we talk about it a lot in career. But we're so much more than career. And I had somebody ask me the question, which I didn't really have an answer for, but they did, which was great, as usually happens in coaching, which was, if I'm multi-passionate, what does that mean for me in terms of relationships? And I was like, oh,
Wow.
well, you tell me. And we had a great discussion. But what I love is they came into coaching with me on a totally different matter. But because I do deal with the holistic person, I got to see all these other facets and how that being multi-passionate showed up in different ways in how they parent. They're more likely to let their kids drop something and move on to something else than maybe a parent who is more traditional in their viewpoint. So it's just those little things that kind of make sense because you're coming from the same sort of background and perspective.
And I want to say that along with that, just bringing up that relationship piece, just that question alone is, what does that mean in my relationships? And I know that you used parenting as an example, but from my
Mm-hmm.
experience, a lot of times, if someone, I'll speak about myself just to be more specific,
Right.
I notice when I'm around people that have known what they've wanted to do all their life and have kind of just stayed that path, and especially like my family, government workers, same job, same career, retired early off the same company, and nowadays it's like popcorn, and I was definitely all over the place with my career initially, and in school, about 5 different
Yeah.
degrees. But with relationships, that just completely cracked my mind open to like, that kind of helps me explain like why, I would end up dating people only for a short while and then moving on. I'm still friends with most of them, which is awesome. So that's a
Yeah.
good thing.
Yeah.
But just like
Yeah.
sometimes feeling like I needed someone that got me, that wasn't just I do X
Right.
or worse
No,
yet, like,
I
yeah.
totally hear you.
Yeah.
Totally hear you. I mean, I've been with my husband 23 years. And I always tell him, and I laugh when I say it, but I am dead serious. The reason he's lasted so long is because he's constantly reinventing himself. He's a serial expat. So we're either in a different country or he's doing a different role that I get to sort of like peep in on and learn about that. And he's constantly growing and challenging himself, taking on new hobbies. So he's multiple people, basically. It
Yeah.
saves me from being
Woo.
polyamorous. But it's like,
Get a new
and that's
hubby every
important.
day. Yeah. I'm sorry, I jumped in. I was so excited.
Exactly. So it does affect our relationships, and we might not be conscious of the why. But again, before him, I had relationships that were just like, yeah, this isn't working.
Yeah.
And I could never really put my finger on what it was. So
I think you're on to a really cool niche. I just wonder. I don't know. Yeah. So as we start to close, I would love to know, is there anything that you would like to share? Maybe things we haven't talked about or any tips or advice? Popcorn question.
I just, I've spent a lot of time just preaching coaching to anybody who will listen and to some who won't, but that's okay. And it's just really something that I am so passionate about. Being able to grow in that safe space is something that I wish that I could give everyone.
Yeah.
And so if anybody's thinking of it, like, whether as a career or whether getting into it for themselves to grow themselves, please, yes, wholeheartedly, do it. Yeah, that's pretty much what comes to mind.
By the look on your face, it's like, I almost feel like you're going to burst with joy.
That's how I feel,
Yeah.
truly.
Well, I deeply appreciate you. I so love seeing you out there in the world making your magic. And I can't wait to see what your next invention is, because I heard you're getting into writing and publishing with different formats. Yeah. Did you want to say anything about that?
I'm writing currently on Medium. If you look for Katie at Awesomely Adept, you'll find me. I have rediscovered Twitter, so I'm back on social media in that way. And yeah, I am thinking about a podcast and maybe a YouTube channel. Exciting. And I'll keep you posted. I'll let you know.
That
But
sounds
yeah,
awesome. Yeah.
fun
Well,
things to learn.
yeah, more things to learn and more things to have fun with.
Exactly.
Yeah. And what I love is, you're really authentically aligning to all of who you are. You're such a great role model and such a great support to your clients. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. Thank you, Farasha.